Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with Finding Yourself SATX Life Coaching, helping you find your best self since 2017. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Today is October 1st, 2022, the publication of this video date. And that's important because I want you to know that our next raffle is open and we're going to be raffling the full digital coaching package for the next lucky winner, or if I'm feeling generous, next two lucky winners. The raffle will be on October 15th, 2022. So make sure that you check out the details section of this video to be able to enter our raffle. And I wanted to congratulate Renee Schultz and Lori Nettleton, who won last video's raffle. So ladies, if you want to reach out to me, I will be happy to email you a copy of our digital coaching package. This package, if you do it completely, will take you about 9 weeks. Of course, once you've set your goals and you have your accountability partner, it is a lifelong journey. So just because you've completed the coaching package doesn't mean that you're done with the emotional work that you need to do to become your best self, to find your best self. So we've been talking about Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. Last video, I went off on a tangent covering a book by Franklin Veaux and Rickert called, I have it on two screens here, More Than Two, and a practical guide to ethical polyamory. And that's because these writers really go deep into details about communication pitfalls, and then also strategies to improve communication. So I've heard say, there's no faster way to bring out your flaws than to try and be in a relationship. Now extrapolate from that you're in multiple relationships, and you can see pretty quickly why communication is the most important thing you need to focus on. So we're going to continue with their chapter on communication. Last time we really focused on passive communication, and I told you that I was going to bring you some tips. I am going to do that, but before that I want to go over some other sections that they have. So it's triangular communication. So these are the pitfalls, communication pitfalls. Passive communication, triangular communication, not wanting to communicate, and coercive communication. So check out my website if you haven't been able to as of yet. It's at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There you can find our whole suite of coaching packages starting at $9.99. And please enter our raffle. We'll be drawing on October 15th or around there, maybe the day before. And super excited to bring this to you guys. So let me get started without further ado. Sorry, I had to take a minute and caffeinate. Needed a little bit more caffeine for this. Okay, so we went over passive communication. And so the complexity of this book, it's kind of stupid, but I don't have it in print form. I just have it on ebook form. And then because I record on my phone, I can't exactly be looking at the book on my phone while I'm talking to you guys. So we talked about passive communication. Here is triangular communications. Triangular communication. If we were to set out axioms of good communication, as we try to do in the next chapter, one of them would be that communication about any issue ideally involves the people directly affected. This sounds simple, but it's surprisingly hard to implement. It starts from an early age. Most of us who grew up with siblings can remember at least one time when we said, "Mom, Danny's poking me," or "Hey Dad, Miranda won't stay on her side of the seat." And thus the seed is sown for some of the most tenacious communication problems we will ever face. Triangular communication happens when one person has a problem, concern, or question for another person, but instead of bringing it up directly with that person, instead goes to someone else. It happens when a child has a problem with his or her brother's behavior and petitions a parent to settle. It happens online when one person has a problem with somebody else and goes to the faceless masses of the internet to seek validation. It happens when someone at a company has a problem with another person's performance and approaches a coworker about it. And it happens all the time in romantic relationships. Triangular communication can also happen when one person wants to control the flow of information between the partners. Most of us don't like conflict, And controlling the flow of information can seem like a way to avoid or reduce conflict. It can sometimes be a means of minimizing tensions or disagreements. If people aren't getting along, you can be tempted to try to interpret one person's words for the other in a way that shows the message in its most favorable light. It also happens when you don't trust what two people in your relationships might say to each other. So that's triangular communication, which is any time that you're taking a problem that you have with someone else and bringing it to a third person instead of the original person that you have a problem with. And so I can remember in my life, after starting this self-discovery journey and starting to learn about this stuff, somebody that I thought was a mentor coming to me and venting to me about a situation. And I clearly remember asking her, have you talked to so-and-so about this thing? And she was very taken aback. And she was just kind of like, well, no. And I said, well, why don't you try talking to them about it? And honestly, I mean, I don't know what she ended up doing. Our relationship deteriorated. But the point of the matter is, for triangular communication, you need to bring the problems that you have to the person that you have them with. Now, this can be very difficult when you're working in a situation where the person is going to immediately get defensive and shut down. And so that's where Dr. Gottman comes in. He tells us that the best way to bring a conflict to somebody is to use his formula. There's a specific formula for bringing conflict. And if you watched my other videos, then you've seen this already, but I'll go over it in this one too, just in case you're a first timer or you need a refresher. Dr. Gottman says, when this happened, I felt this particular way. This can be related to my emotional enduring vulnerability that I've had since childhood. For example, like for me specifically, I don't like tickles, right? When you tickled me, I felt trapped. This is related to experiences that I had in my childhood. I can take ownership in that, X, Y, Z. So you have to take ownership no matter how small. And this can be particularly difficult, especially if you're bringing a problem to someone and you feel like it's their fault, they messed up. But Gottman says that if we don't take ownership, the chances of the other person even coming to the negotiating table are quite small. So when this happened, I felt Y. If applicable, this is related to my enduring vulnerability, XYZ, from childhood or from adulthood. I can take ownership in that, ABC. What I need or needed from you was this. So we want to bring our needs to the person. Whenever instead of just bringing criticism to them, I don't like this, I don't like that, you did this wrong, well, okay, what is it that you need? What are you asking for in this conversation? So that is how you bring a conflict to someone, and you want to bring a conflict to someone and not triangulate or go around them. This is the basis for all the high school drama, bullying, office politics, and of course, interpersonal relationships, romantic or non-romantic, that you have in your life. Don't gossip, don't bring it to somebody else, bring it to that person in particular. So thanks for spending time with me today. I really hope that this taught you a little bit. If you want to take a look at our digital coaching packages, please visit my website. It's at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. They start there at $9.99 for the personal vision statements. And then also enter our raffle. That's a $65 value, and I love giving away my stuff. It may seem silly and counterintuitive and counterproductive as a business person, but the more people that see what I have to offer and offer me critique on it, the better off that our entire community is going to be. So I love it. I love your comments. I love your emails. Please do like and subscribe. And I look forward to announcing the next winner on October 15th. But if you take one message away from this video and you're still with me, right, 10 minutes in, triangular communication is a huge communication pitfall. So we want to communicate assertively and directly. We also don't want to triangulate. So you want to talk to that specific individual that you have an issue with. And if you can use the Gottman formula to bring it to them, then the chances of them listening to what you have to say are so much higher. And so the work that I've done in my journey here with 200 plus videos on the Finding Yourself SATX life coaching channel, I'm trying to bring this all together for you. So if you've never seen any other video besides this one, I recommend that you check out my works, my videos covering the works of Dr. Lindsay Gibson on emotionally immature parents. Pretty much Dr. Gibson divides the world up between internalizers and externalizers. And if you're an internalizer, if you're watching this video, it means you're most likely an internalizer. And those are the people who go on to become codependents. An externalizer will not become a codependent, they will become a dependent. And so then just understanding how this all intertwines, right? Understanding Dr. Gibson's works, understanding Dr. Gottman's works, because he gives us our toolkit for conflict resolution, understanding Melody Beattie's works, and now even bringing in this crazy work about polyamory. Not that I'm advocating for it, but I just feel that if you're juggling multiple relationships, which you are, not necessarily romantic, the tips in this book really are super helpful. So wherever you fall on the end of the spectrum, if you write me and ask me whatever, like my private life is private, but at the same time, I don't judge one way or the other. So whatever anyone does in terms of their personal life, that's good. The reason why I'm bringing this to you is because communication is key, and we are all juggling multiple relationships in our lives. So check it out, read it with open eyes, give it a chance, and it'll really help you with communication strategies in your life. So take care, y'all. Look forward to talking with you on the next video and announcing our raffle winners. Bye-bye.